Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, sketch the graph of each linear inequality. 3x plus 2y greater than or equal to 12. So what do they want me to do? They want me to sketch, okay? Sketch is the same thing than graphing it, okay? And they want me to sketch or graph the linear inequality. They're giving you an inequality. Now notice how this inequality has the x and the y on the same side, which means you need to solve for y in order for you to be able to graph it. Okay, so let's start by doing that. So I'm going to write down over here, solve for y. Okay, that's the first thing I want to do. So I'm going to write down my inequality exactly as it appears. Then I want to follow the steps for solving for y. So I am going to get rid of the 3x by taking away or subtracting 3x's on both sides. Okay, this cancels that 3x minus 3x cancels, so it's a 0. And I'm going to bring down the 2y greater than or equals. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to switch my terms. My 3x, which is a negative 3x, will come to the front. Make sure you bring the symbol with it. And the 12 is a positive, so I write down plus 12. Next, I need to get rid of the 2, right? So I need to divide by positive 2. Now, notice how when I divide by a positive 2, I divide each term on the right by positive 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, but we all know that we don't need to write the 1 in front of the y. So my answer will be y greater than or equals to negative 3 half x plus, what's 12 divided by 2? 6. Very good. Okay, so now I'm going to think about this one as an equation, right? So that can help me identify the slope and the y-intercept. So let's see. If I think about it from that perspective, I might think about something like y equals mx plus b. Now I put a different color because that's not the same thing, right? I'm just writing it to make the comparison, right? So who is my b? Well, the b is the y-intercept. And that means that's where I start graphing, okay? If I know the y-intercept, then that's an easy way for me to start my graphing, okay? Next, my m, it's my slope. Notice how the slope, it's negative. So I am going to write down negative slope. Okay, now if it's a negative slope, hopefully by now we have a really good idea how a negative slope looks like. So it should look something like this. Like if it's pointing to the left. Very good. Okay, so now I'm going to write down my slope, which is negative 3 over 2. Okay, and I want to write down what is the rise and the run for that. Okay, so since the 3 is negative, that means that I am going to go 3 down. And since the 2 is positive, I'm going to go 2 to the right. Okay, so far so good? Okay, awesome. What about this inequality symbol? Remember, this is a symbol that is going to allow you to decide whether it's going to be a solid or a dashed line, and whether it's going to be shaded above or below. So the symbol reads greater than. I'm going to write it down here. Greater than or equal to. So if the symbol is greater than or equal to, it means that it's going to be shaded above, right? And since I have the equal sign with my symbol, that means that it's going to be a solid line. This is very important for us to graph it. Okay, so let me write down on the side over here on the right. I'm gonna say I'm gonna start at y equals 6 because that's my y-intercept. Okay, so let me find the y. This is my y right there, and my positive 6 will be right here. I'm gonna cover up the 6, but we all know that that's 6, right? What do I do next? Well, I'm gonna follow the slope. Okay, following the slope means I'm gonna go 3 down and 2 to the right. Very good. Okay, so make sure that we are good on that. Let me make a line in here, just make sure that we are not confused. Okay, so let's follow the slope. So right there where the dot, the red dot is, which is positive 6, I am gonna go 3 down. So that's counting 1, 2, and 3 down, and 2 to the right. So this would be 1, 2 to the right. Next, I'm going to continue 3 down and 2 to the right. And keep on doing it. 1, 2, 3, and 2 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Notice how I go straight down first, and then I go to the right. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 2. So I can see the path. I can see the pattern of my points. Is that right? Says I want to find another point higher than the 6. I'm going to need to do the opposite. And remember, opposite means not that I'm changing the slope. The rise and the run, it still goes the same way. The only thing is that I'm going the opposite direction. So I'm going to go 3 up and 2 to the left. Very good. Okay, so I'm just going the opposite direction. Let's count. 3 up, 1, 2, and 3 up, and then 2 to the left. Notice how that point is still in the path of the other ones. Is that right? Because it doesn't make any difference, okay? Just be careful with that. Now, what's the next thing that I need to do? I need to decide whether it's going to be a solid line or a dashed line. Since the symbol has the inequality, this equal sign means it's going to be a solid line. Very good. I know I have it over there. I'm writing it down again here. So it's a solid line. So let's go ahead and connect the points. Okay. Now, I'm going to make kind of like an arrow right here. And notice how this one is pointing to the left, right? Because we agree earlier that the left means negative slope. Now the next question is, where do I shade it? Above or below? Well, we decided that it was going to be above. So this is where it comes a little bit tricky, right? Above means I am going to go to my y-intercept, which is right here. That's my y-intercept. Then I'm going to look at the numbers that are above on the y. Okay, so if this is 6, then I need to think about 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now I can see that this is where it needs to be the shaded. Is that right? So let's do it. So it says shade above, right? It's right there, above. So all of this needs to be shaded. Now remember that shading above means the y value, right? And then all of this needs to be shaded. Okay, if you're shading it, go all the way down, and this is how my inequality should look like.